Hey guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about this little guy right here. This is the new Morphe by KathleenLights palette. Now this was released, I believe, back in October, and I purchased it the day that it was released on their website. It did sell out as probably everyone expected it to. However, I have heard, I believe from Kathleen's actual Instagram, that this will be coming back sometime soon. I don't think she had an actual date, but hopefully sooner rather than later, which is why I decided to make this video and let you guys know what I think about this palette. So in case you are interested and you missed out the first time, when the second round rolls around, whenever that might be, you could snatch it up if it is something that you're interested in. So this is what the outside of the palette looks like. All of the Morphe palettes, this is actually my first Morphe eyeshadow palette that I've ever tried, but I have seen them and they all look very similar. This one is quite a bit smaller. This one I believe has 15 shadows, and most of them I think have 24. So just keep that in mind, though the price is reflective, and I thought this was a really great way to try Morphe shadows for the first time because this was only $15. And there are plenty of discount codes out there from all different YouTubers that are affiliated with Morphe. I'm not personally, so I did purchase this myself. I believe I used the code dupe that, which is an Instagram that I follow, and they had a code for 10% off. So feel free to use that. You can use it on any order that you make on Morphe's website. You obviously don't have to. I don't get any kickback from them. The account dupe that does. So keep that in mind. But this is what this one looks like. And then this is what the inside looks like, and I think she just did a really nice job laying out all the different shadows, and I think the shadows work really well together. There's this really fun pop of green, which you can see I have on my eyes right now, but then all the other ones, they're kind of similar. They kind of maybe remind me a little bit of the Urban Decay Naked 3 with these rosy tones here, but overall I just thought it was a really nice palette. I thought, like I said, she did a really good job making it like a very cohesive palette. You know, there's something for every step. You're not going to need an extra eyeshadow here or there to create an entire look. I think you can definitely do multiple looks with this one palette. So before I completely talk your ear off in this video, let me go ahead and throw over to some swatches that I did along with a demo of how I completed this eye look today. Morphe shadows myself. I was kind of unsure on what to expect with this palette, but I have to say personally I am quite impressed with it. I think the pigmentation on most of them is really, really good. I think the only one that really kind of lacked any kind of pigmentation was this one here, and I think that's fine. For me personally, it matches my skin tone pretty well, so I can just use it to kind of go over my eyeshadow bases, which is just how I will use that shade. So for me, it works just fine. For somebody who's maybe wanting to use that as more of like a highlighting shade, it might not work so well for that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe it is just because it is pretty much the color of my skin is why it's not showing up. Maybe if somebody does have a darker skin tone and wanted to use it as a highlight, it would work better. But I think the things that really stand out in this palette are all of these shimmery shades. Now, I believe in general, shimmery shades are easier to make than matte shades, but they really do like shine through here on this palette. I think they're all very, very pigmented, and you saw when I was applying this green shade just how pigmented it really is. I mean, you can tell on my eyes it is very, very green, and I will show you the brush that I use. It's actually a Morphe brush. This is the M224 brush, and this worked beautifully. This is actually a concealer brush. It is not technically an eyeshadow brush, but it works wonderfully with that eyeshadow. So I'm really excited to use that brush with all of the different shimmery shades in here. I think that's gonna work really, really well. And I'm not gonna go through and talk about each and every single shadow here, but I will say also the black is not the most pigmented black that I've ever used. It works because typically how I use a black is just to go over my eyeliner, just to kind of put it into place, to make sure that it doesn't budge throughout the day, to kind of soften up the look a little bit as well. And I think it works just fine for that. If you want a really dark pigmented black, this is not it. So just keep that in mind. And I will say too, this lightest shade here, the one that I used as a highlighting shade in my inner corners and on my brow bone, is very, very intense. And I like that on my inner corners. I do think it's a little too intense going up on my brow bone. I could use it, and maybe if I mixed these two together to go up on my brow bone, that might work a little bit better. I don't know. But overall, for $15, I'm quite impressed with this palette. Again, I think the assortment of colors is really, really nice. They all blend really nicely together. I think you can make so many different looks out of this palette, and this fun pop of green is just like so fun, and it really is kind of unexpected, but in a really good way, I think. I'm gonna have so much fun playing with that color. I just think it's very unique. I don't think I have anything like it in my collection, and it's just such an awesome shadow. I mean, look at that pigmentation. It's beautiful. I think for never having used a Morphe eyeshadow before, I'm rather impressed. I think the mattes were nice and blendable, and these shimmers were extremely pigmented. Two things that I definitely look for in those type of eyeshadows, so they definitely hit the mark on that. And the price can't be beat, I don't think. You know, this was just $1 per eyeshadow when you think about it that way. And again, I do really, really love the color selection. So if you're interested in checking out this palette or interested in trying Morphe eyeshadows for the first time and you don't want to get one of the really big ones, when this comes back, I highly recommend it. I think it's a lot of fun to play with. I'm definitely going to continue to use it. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about it, but yeah, definitely, like I said, if you've never tried Morphe eyeshadows before and you've been interested in doing that, this would be a great way to do it, because it is a little bit smaller and it is a little bit cheaper than the other palettes that they have, and you get a nice wide variety of eyeshadows there. So let me know if you guys have picked this up, or if you're waiting for it to come back in stock and you're wanting to pick it up. I'd love to hear about that. And if you have tried other Morphe eyeshadows before, let me know what you think about them, because I have kind of heard mixed here on YouTube. I think most people like them, but I have heard a few negative reviews. So I was very curious to try them myself, and I am really glad that I did, because I have really enjoyed them so far. So good job, Kathleen. Oh, and if you are wondering, my lipstick is also from KathleenLights. It is Aquarius from ColourPop. So not from Morphe, but another one of her collaborations. She's done quite a few. And I don't have everything, but I do have a couple of her ColourPop lipsticks, and then this as well, obviously. But thank you guys, of course, so much for hanging out with me today. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. We can also connect on Instagram. I will have my link listed down there somewhere. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!